Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Hello, good evening. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Give me 1 second. I'm setting up my background.
Awesome.
Good to see you, Ross and Ted.
Nice to see you. It's been a while.
All right. Um, okay. As we're ready here, I think that we're gonna. Can you guys like wait for like 3-4 minutes before we start?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's another like team member that gonna like join us in the call, and then like she gonna like give the introductions about OpenGuild. Then we're gonna go to the main discussion, the main topic that we're gonna talk about today.
There's always one that's late, isn't there? There's always one.
I'm going to go out and take some.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, I think like all the hosts and the guest speaker are already in the call, so maybe we should start. Yeah, I'm gonna give the mic back to you, Pat.
Yes, thank you, Tin. Let me just share my screen. 1 sec. Okay. Hi, Ross. Hi, Tin. Hi, Thang. Good, good. Thang, I think so just to have a brief hi and hello, Thang, I think I saw you in Super AI. Did you go there?
Oh, where?
Sorry, in Singapore, or you didn't?
Which event did you like mention?
Super AI.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
What's the
I knew,
event?
I knew, I knew it. I knew it was you. Okay. Anyway, I just I think in my mind I think I saw Tang, but I think that's him.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, okay, so maybe we can start. It's 9:01. Hi Ross. Welcome to our community call.
Thank you. Exciting to be here. First time.
Yes. So before we all begin with this, so just to have a brief agenda, right? So we will start this call with, of course, introduction of OpenGuild and what we have, what we're doing, with updates also, and an ecosystem updates. So that will be reported by me, and then we will jump to Tin with you, Tang, and Ross. Okay.
Okie
Got
dokie.
it.
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, let's begin now. So hello everyone. Welcome back to all our community members in Open Guild and to everyone who's watching with us right now on X. Welcome and welcome back to our community call. So this is gonna be, a repetitive introduction of Open Guild just for someone who's new in the community or new watching our community calls to have a bit of information about Open Guild, right? So Open Guild is a Web3 hub for Polkadot enthusiasts in Southeast Asia. We are kind of like slowly doing expansion a bit, but of course, our focus is still in Southeast Asia. We're doing some efforts to expand it a bit within Asia, but of course, we cannot turn a blind eye the talent that we have here in our region. So that's OpenGuild. Yeah. So these are just some of the photos that we've been doing. Recently, we went to Danang for a hack camp. We're also doing now more regular initiatives and on-ground meetups, workshops within Southeast Asia, of course, in Philippines, Malaysia for last year, Malaysia Blockchain Week, Cebu in the Philippines, Hanoi, of course, and Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam, and some also in Thailand. So whenever there's a major conference in Southeast Asia or in Asia, we also help in East Asia. But for major conferences, we make sure Open Guild is representing Polkadot through side events, through joining stage presence or panels or keynote. So that's part of Open Guild initiatives. But aside from the events, of course, aside from these meetups, Open Guild has done these slides. This is a bit old, maybe, like if I say it right, because right now we just launched two platforms. So we did the uh, Learn Educational Hub and the Builders Hub, right? I think Tin can clarify more later on, but that's what we have currently, and that's the newest one. I think it's easier for builders who want to learn about Polkadot, and of course who want to learn about smart contracts, even not just for Polkadot, right? Like building from the very beginning. So that's what we have, and also organizing all these resources for everyone who wants to build. So these are quite old, but this is still useful. So we also have this playlist, like a video playlist for bootcamp. So let's say our community in the Philippines, for example, we did a bootcamp and we followed this video playlist. So this is an open source, anyone can use anywhere in the world, even not just for a community in Asia, right? Even like the Polkadot community in Africa, even in Europe, like literally anyone can use it, and that's what OpenGuild's efforts are for, right? Like for literally anyone in the community. Yes, so we have a bootcamp, and we offer video playlist for Polkadot SDK and the video playlist for Polka VM. So yeah, we have that. So yeah, for anyone who's new here, feel free to join OpenGuild community. This is our Discord, this is our X account. And yeah, I'll just leave it here. But for now, we can jump to ecosystem updates. So today for this call, we have 4 ecosystem updates. Let's start with Accurast. So Accurast, I think this is quite a big number, like Accurast surpassed 300 million transactions on its testnet. So now the question is when on mainnet, right? So that's something that we will look forward in their roadmap for Accurast. And next with the hydration. So hydration just launched Giga Hydration campaign. So this makes a giga history for Polkadot's biggest liquidity push. So launching with yields up to 69% APR. You can follow their X because they listed different assets and the specific APRs for these assets. Next one is Bifrost. So Bifrost's VDOT surges past 15 million and now accounts for 1% of that supply with 16 million liquid staked. And lastly, for Unique Network, I think this is very a big one for Polkadot because 650,000 gamers activated on Polkadot through Unique's collaboration with Top Nation. So yeah, these are the ecosystem updates that we have right now. There's a lot more that I really want to share with everyone, but I suggest that you follow WAG Media or Polka World. These are the media, ecosystem media who are keeping us up to date. So yeah, these are just 4 of the big ones I can say. So yeah, that's it on my end. Again, please feel free to join Open Guild community. Now, back to you, Tin.
Right. Hopefully you can hear me. All right, thank you, Pat. So I think we're gonna start the main discussion today about the importance of modern client library in building scalable applications that features Thang from Dedot and also Ross from Polkadot Cloud, or you also like know him more about like the staking dashboard. That basically the application that I use every day to stack my dot. All right. So first word, I think like we already like have Thang for like the third time in the community course, and all the audiences are already like quite familiar with like his faces and also like his background. So I think like gonna like give Ross like a turn to give like an overview and introduction about yourself first, Ross. Yeah.
Cool, thanks, Tin. Hi, my name is Ross. I've been in the Polkadot ecosystem for around 3 to 4 years now, I guess. I worked at Parity for a while. My role was to create a new staking interface, and that turned out to be the staking dashboard. I've done other stuff. I lectured the first dApps lecture in the PBA in Hong Kong. And since then, we've been playing around with ideas with the Polkadot cloud narrative, what we can do there. And I spend most of my time in Polkadot maintaining and developing the staking dashboard, keeping it reliable and stable and keeping up to date with the latest APIs. So yeah, it's me.
That's really cool. I didn't know that you also like come from Parity. So you work at Parity in 2022, I guess.
Yeah, if memory serves, I think I started in January 2022 and I left mid 2024, so 2.5 year period where we saw, I was primarily focused on staking, so we saw the launch of nomination pools. Uh, we supported scalability features like paged era stakers. We went from the top 21,500 nominators earning rewards to like every nominator earning rewards. So yeah, I was mostly working on the UI side of things, but we yeah, in that time period, the staking system scaled quite a bit, made some good progress in that time. So yes, it's leaving Parity though. I'm mostly focused on the UX side of things.
Yeah, that's a very interesting story. So we definitely gonna like visit that back later in this today call as well. So how about you, Tang? Like, what have you done? Maybe like you can give like a short introduction about yourself because we're already quite familiar with your face. So maybe like, and also like, can you give like an update of you like in the past 6 months? I think that you are muted.
Is it good now? Can
Okay,
you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, yeah, it's good to be back. Thank you, Tin. Yeah. So my name is Thang, and I've been here so I think some of you might know my face because like I've been in the community call from OpenGuild for a few times, and yeah, I've been so just a quick introductions. I'm I've been around in the ecosystem from I mean like 3 to 4 years, and I've been have been seriously building on Polkadot like in I mean like 3 or 3 years from now, um, and most of my I was like uh, joining the PBA 6 in Singapore last year as well, and most of my work are around like the tooling, the tooling for ecosystem. So so more of you might know about my work is on Dedot, which is a new JavaScript client for Polkadot and Polkadot DK based chains, which is an alternative for Polkadot JS. So yeah, I mean, for the past, I think like it's been like a while since our last call, and yeah, most of my time and efforts recently have been putting on a DDOT, which is to like keep the library up to date with the new changes in the protocol. For example, the new palette revive update with like the ing basic support, and also the metadata 16, also a lot of other update and bug fix from the like the community as well as from Bros and Polkadot Clouds. Lots of like feedbacks and bug reports that I've been working on recently. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, thank you for the update. All right, let's get back to Ross. Um, Now I'm interested more in your like in your founding story. Not like founding story because as I understand, so stacking dashboard is generated from Parity, and then now you are like the main builders, the main maintainer. I can say also like the co-creator of the staking dashboard and also like the Polkadot Cloud team. I haven't researched much about like Polkadot Cloud, but I remember like last year I read a proposal from you, I guess, about the Polkadot Cloud and like that provide like all kinds of libraries to help the builders to build in Polkadot, if I'm correct. So maybe like can you also like talk a bit more about Polkadot Cloud?
Yeah, that proposal may have been from another guy on the team called Flez. He's the designer for the Polkadot Cloud website, and he's working on that right now. And the website's been in coming soon state for a good couple of months, and we're excited to launch the beta of that website in the near future. His X handle is I am Flez, so he's the creator. He's got creative freedom of the Polkadot Cloud website. Um, he's had a lot of industry experience in his own ad agency. He's got like he's had many projects in terms of like website design, and he's a master at designing. So I think the Polkadot Cloud website's in good hands with him. So I just tend to agree with everything he says. Um, with that said, we all try to give our own direction on what we think the cloud could be. I think every team has a different idea of what is the cloud, what is the hub, how they intersect. And I think that's a journey that we'll be on for the foreseeable future, trying to really cement that narrative with the Polkadot Cloud, well, platform really. It's going to be a platform of the cloud protocol itself with the networks, and then this UX layer, um, the application layer where people interact with it, and then there'll hopefully be resource libraries and whatnot. So the full stack we can really support with Polkadot Cloud. But I think this will take time. So long story short, Fles is the guide to look out for with updates to the Polkadot Cloud website. Um, I'm more focused on the application side. So along with the staking dashboard, I also focus on the staking API. I don't talk about this much publicly. It's mostly closed source. Um, Huge database of various staking data that we deliver on the staking dashboard. So that's primarily a GraphQL service, but there's various services running behind the scenes. Not necessarily decentralized, but necessary infrastructure as the staking system scales. Um, so yeah, I think there will be a API story, and yeah, Thang was at an AI conference I understood earlier in the call. I think AI is going to play a big role in the future as well for Polkadot Cloud. As far as I'm aware, not many teams are exploring AI. But this is one of my main focuses now, how we can do prompt engineering, how we can deliver summaries and uh, in terms of reputation as well as like open in the OpenGov space, and so on and so on. So I mean, yeah, there's various things we can focus on in the cloud. It's like wide-ranging subjects, and there'll be a lot of experimentation to be had, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I see. So just like curious, right now, like as you mentioned, like there's a Polkadot Cloud protocol on the protocol level and Polkadot Cloud on the application on the UX level, right? Because like we also introduced about the Polkadot Cloud in a few last community call ago, but it's more like about the protocol level. So how you guys like plan to do like all kinds of branding, all kinds of the distributions for if like they have the same name?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think this will be a lot to do with collaboration and discussion in the community. Um, I've personally not tried to step on anyone's toes in the past. I mean, for example, like we see one-click staking interfaces in wallets. Staking dashboard has primarily been a prosumer application, so we've tried to differentiate ourselves as much as possible. And it's the same story with the Polkadot Cloud. So as far as I understand, there are platforms being developed like the Polkadot deployment platform. I think Parity are handling that, for example. So we need to be very careful not to duplicate this work, but at the same time support it as much as we can with funnels, um, things like elastic scaling, agile core time. We want to improve that communication as well. Ultimately, we need to work together as a community and leverage the resources we have, and Polkadot Cloud will definitely play a role in that. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't say like we're definitely going to do this or this, but rather we need to have that discussion and integrate the Polkadot Cloud domain as effectively as we can.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, thanks for the explanations. Now get back to the staking dashboard. Curious, like, what is the current daily active user of the staking dashboard?
It's currently around 5 to 750 users a day. It's not huge numbers, but it's still active. There were some stumbling blocks, I would say, mid last year where we made the migration from Parity Tech to Polkadot Cloud. In that process, we lost the main funnel to the dashboard, which was on the old Polkadot network website. So that disappeared, and at that time it was on about 2.5, 3K visits a day. It's quite a dramatic, drop from there. But I think the market plays a big role. There's a big correlation between the dot price and people visiting the staking dashboard. Um, so in some sense, we are reliant on other aspects of the ecosystem being successful. We want the dot price to go up. We want the interest to increase, so more users want to stake.
Mm.
Yeah, so 5 to 750 visits a day. I guess another aspect is liquid staking interest. I mean, VDOT, as Patricia pointed out earlier, is getting a lot of interest. I'm sure hydration will as well. So it might be a case of supporting these protocols directly in the dashboard in the future to maintain its relevance. But yeah, we'll see. But to summarize, the dot price dictates a lot of what the traffic is like. Yeah.
I see. And as we're talking about, like the main topic, so I read your blog post about the staking dashboard, and you also mentioned some like blocker, some challenges that you hit recently. That also like lead to the decision that to migrate to Polkadot from Polkadot.js to Dedot. So I'm sort of like, can you talk more about the challenges while you're working with Polkadot.js?
Yeah, so Polkadot.js was the go-to API for a number of years. Um, but most recently, it was marked as in maintenance. I think it's been in this state for close to a year now. So it uses the previous JSON RPC spec, the version 2 of that spec, that Thang, I'm sure Thang is a lot more aware of than I am. It's more optimized for light clients. And I'm sure maybe sometime in the future, the first version will be deprecated. So there's an urgency really for dApps to find an alternative to Polkadot.js. In addition to the maintenance mode, technical wise, some of the utilities were a bit bloated, like the too human, too big number. Some of the boilerplate we had to work with was a bit more than we would have liked, perhaps. And Polkadot.js as well wasn't designed when dApps had to connect to concurrent chains. So it was all singular chain, the relay chain. Whereas now, Stake and Dashboard, for example, connects to people chain, asset hub, relay chain concurrently. And so I think that has brought new challenges. That's why typing is so important with Dedot to differentiate those API clients. So yeah, I mean, technology evolves over time, and the main lead of Polkadot.js API stepped away, and yeah, one guy, one great guy at Parity jumped in and maintained Polkadot.js API for a while. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the whole Polkadot.js project has recently been passed to a completely different external team to maintain that. So yeah, things move along, and at some point you need to make the decision to jump to a new API. But to be clear, Polkadot.js was great. It was reliable, it was stable, no major issues at the time of using it. But as dApps evolve, concurrent chains and whatnot, the requirements evolve as well, and you need to make a decision. What will we move to?
Before we're talking about the transitions, I also remember like there's a public discussion between you and also like Joseph from Papi and about like why like staking dashboard, not like staking dashboard, but like a new Polkadot console. Don't use Papi, but use don't use Papi, but you use like Polkadot.js, if I remember correctly. And then I'm sort of curious about that. Like, did you like replace the API client of dot console from Polkadot.js to Pabi, or anything? Yeah.
Nice. So from, I would say January 2024 to around September time, I was focusing on a new problem, which was if we had a chance to redesign Polkadot.js, as in the console, the UI, not the API side, what would it look like and what problems do we need to solve? And I didn't actually revise this before the call, so a lot of this is from memory. So I think a lot of it was to do with flows. So the tabbed interface really sped up workflows. I don't know if you guys have this problem, but I do a lot of context switching in Polkadot.js. I always switch from the relay chain to Asset Hub if I want to transfer some USDT or if I want to check some chain state. Um, and of course, if you open JS in a new tab, then the local storage updates and things mess up. So the developer console focused a lot on like user flows to speed things up. And it was more of a UX UI project than an API one. And so you need to make a decision of what you want to focus on in a project. And for me, it was primarily the UI. Um, as developers, we only have a limited amount of bandwidth. And so if you spread yourself too thin and say, I'm going to totally redesign the API, I'm going to redesign the interface, and the more problems you try and solve, the less time you have on each of those problems. So for me, it was sticking to what I knew in terms of some of the infrastructure. And like my passion is about interface design, really. And so my bias led me to focus more on the design of the application. There was no negativity towards Pappy. Wish you all the success. But for me, it was more about the design of the console rather than the inner workings, and it was an alpha. Um, Definitely early alpha. It was by no means production ready, and things go through refactors and things like that, community feedback loops before things become production ready. So the developer console, it was an interesting project, and unfortunately, our proposal failed in last September. And so we haven't been pursuing that since then. But with the advent of co-pilot agents and AI tools in general, it might become viable again to focus some time to maybe prompt engineer this in a native AI fashion to just bring it up to speed. And of course, I would choose Dedot now as the API solution. So that's just a bit of an update on the developer console. Very interesting thing to work on, but we're also seeing other solutions being developed. So we don't want to duplicate work, step on other people's toes. So there needs to be a balance there.
I see. That's the reason why I see that the stacking dashboard is like one of the smoothest UX UI that I ever seen like in Polkadot ecosystem right now. Yeah, to be honest, I love like using the applications. Now also like curious more about the main topic, like the how you guys like work together. How did you find about Dedot? Because I think I remember that time like I study PPA with Thang in Singapore, and then like he was so struggling to find like the directions for Dedot and also like find the team to integrate Dedot into the applications. And when like he know that's taking that sport gonna use Dedot, he was so happy. So like more curious about that as well.
I'm sure I was equally as happy when I discovered Dedot. Um, I think I was reaching out to ecosystem participants like wallets, and I was asking, hey, are there any other API projects going on? Because we had some friction with the alternatives currently today. And so one of the sub-audit team referred me to the Dedot website. Looked great. So contacted Thang and we had a call, and it just took one call and then we were completely aligned. And then it just made sense to jump on this. It wasn't a part of our proposal for the dashboard, but it resolved some fundamental issues that I'm sure we might go into later in the call. It was worth it just to go ahead and get it integrated in both the staking API and the staking dashboard after that.
I see. Question for you, Thang, like how did you manage the iterations? I mean, like when I saw like the pull request from Ross for like changing Dedot to no, like changing Polkadot.js to Dedot, like it was around like 400 files changes, and it was like a very like lot. There's a lot of work there for the migration. So I'm sort of curious about how you guys like, manage to collaborate or like working together to like push the iteration to success.
Yeah, from the migration, I think Ross would have more insight because he was the main person working on that. I was also like, my role was just to support him when he run into an issue, has any questions, and has any requests for new features, and I would like support him, like spending all my resource and time to support him to make like the migration went smoothly. And so I think Ross, you would have like more insight on the migration.
Yeah, so I think the migration took around 3, 4 weeks in total. It didn't take a huge amount of time. I think it was about 5,000 insertions, I think, about 7,000 deletions. It's quite a major thing. But yeah, I mean, it was a smooth process. It was the dashboard code base was evolving to a mono repo workspace, so it was a great opportunity really to move all the API interactions out from the UI into a separate, completely separate package. And so now the dashboard communicates via like we call it the global bus, like this global state management system. So that was a part of the migration story as well. But yeah, 4 weeks, pretty bog standard, one thing at a time, migrated the state, migrated the subscriptions, moved on to the transactions. The most collaboration I needed with Thang really was the custom signers where we worked on the Wallet Connect, Ledger, Polkadot Vault stuff. And all this is open source now on the dashboard repo, so other teams can refer to those integrations. Hopefully, might resolve some issues if you're facing any. But no, it was quite a streamlined approach, and yeah, everything worked surprisingly well from the off, really. Yeah.
You muting.
Sorry about that. So what were like the most significant technical pain points in Polkadot.js that Dedot set out to solve? As like one of the, I also like use Dedot to write my application in Polkadot now, and I really love like the tag system. But can you like pitch more to me, like what kinds of feature that's set out Dedot from like other like competitors of the site client library landscape?
Yeah, I think one of the pain point that I was focusing on to solve was that like the original like D dot was like like I was trying to remember. I was like proposing a proposal to Web3 Foundation grants in order to like, pursue a different like client for alternative client for PGS. And the main reason, um, reason that I could convince them to approve the proposal was that Polkadot.js was consume a lot of memory because like in wallets they have to connect to a lot of chains at the same time. And for example, support that they're supporting like 50 hundreds of chains at the same time. And when they connect to those chains at the same time, it consumes a lot of memory. So initially, when if you are using initial version of sub wallet, it would consume like 600 or like a gigabyte of RAM in the extension. So that was one of the pain points that I was trying to solve initially when I proposed the proposal to the Web2 Foundation. And another issue was that the its type system is a bit like really hard to work with for newcomers. So when I was trying to work like trying around new comer as a Polkadot, like trying to develop some D apps on Polkadot and try Polkadot.js, and I was like really sort of struggle with its type system. It has a different type system, like it has number, it has like U32, it has like I8 or something like that, and string and it doesn't use like native, like we have to, it has a wrap per codec around the native data, and then it's like using the conversion a lot in under the hood in order to make things work. So it's really great friction for newcomers, for a newcomer to work with. For example, the struct and the enum is really hard to work with. So I thought was that what I thought was that what if we could use the native type system of JavaScript or TypeScript to deal with it, so to interact with the network. That would be so cool. And that was like one of the issues that was solving, and it was took a lot of time for me to like convert, trying to mapping around the type from browse and from the metadata, to the raw type of JavaScript and TypeScript. And also another issue is that the bundle size of the application that built on Polkadot was really large. For example, a very simple D app, like just like connect to the network and then fetching the balance of the network. It would like the size would easily take like a megabyte. So that is like an issue, because like it would like create friction in the UX, because like if you have like an issue with the connection, and it take a lot of time to load the app, so it would be not a good point of like an UX. So that is another issue. So like that is three main issues that I was trying to solve, and Dedot was like born from that.
Oh, that's a really cool perspective from like creator. I didn't know like Dedot like has that's like many features. Maybe like gonna need you to spend more time like working on it. How about like the perspective of Ross? I think like it's also like a chance for you, Ross, to like give bad feedback, what you don't like about the tool or anything to Thang.
I don't think there's anything I don't like about the tool. But no, it's blazing fast. It allowed us to fully type the API layer, and like this is, like I say, this is crucial if we're dealing with concurrent chain connections. And it's allowed us to abstract, we call them services, like we create an API service for every network. And so West End, Kusama, and Polkadot require, in their services, they require three chains: the people chain for identities, the asset hub chain, and the relay chain. Whereas a solo chain, for example, will have their staking and nomination pools and all the balances and everything on one chain. So what Dedot has allowed us to do with their type safe API is we could abstract these services for any network now. So we don't have to worry about their the taxonomy in the cloud, you could say. We don't have to worry about where state is in each chain. We can use Dedot now to support a range of networks for staking dashboard. So we're actually actively looking into this now for Vara network, one of them, and there are a few networks that have forked the dashboard code base and to maintain themselves for their own network, and I feel sorry for them because in the early days of the dashboard, it was a bit messy, it was a bit rushed, it was a bit very agile, fast feedback loop, experimentation. And so it's taken a while to formalize that code base. And so we want to take the whole forking and maintenance away from external teams. And Dedot is hopefully like, it's allowed us to do this. We just need to onboard networks now and create a flow for them to onboard themselves and their assets.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, that's pretty cool. A bit outside of like the topic that we are discussing, I also like build like a few application in Ethereum, and I noticed like there's a lot of like all the abstraction library like Vim, WebMe. So also like as you guys are like front-end expert, I can say like UX expert, front-end expert. So what you guys are like point of view for like the futures of this client landscape of Polkadot in maybe like in 1 2 year, what are we missing, and what are like communities need to focus on to deliver for like a better consumer app building experience. Yeah, maybe let's start with Ross first. Yeah.
I think the next year or two will be heavily focused on smart contract development, and I think like Dedot will play a key role in this side of things. I think for me, my focus would be just to keep the product stable, keep them going, keep them up, keep them accessible, keep them efficient, and as new features roll out on chain or on contract, they are supported in the applications. So yeah, this is a recurring theme for me. Once you've launched the product, you need to make sure it's up to date with latest APIs, and I think other teams will be experiencing this problem as well, making sure that the migration to Asset Hub works in their applications. And yeah, this will be on the agendas of the teams until probably the end of this year, as we see. I think it's August the 4th for Kusama, and Polkadot will follow that. So I think this will take a lot of bandwidth for teams. But beyond that, I think, depending on the use case, big focus on the smart contracts and probably a big focus on the cloud side of things with onboarding larger scale clients to try and get them to buy some cores.
Yeah. How about you, Thang?
Yeah, I think that I have 2 points. The first thing that we need to make sure that the library, the tooling that will need to keep up with like the changing on the protocol side. So for example, we have like rolling out like palette revives and a new changing in the ecosystem. So we need to keep up with that in order to like for new developer to come testing and see if there's an issue, if there's any issues, and then when we've officially launch the hub, we would like be ready for that. I think that that one issue. Another thing is that we need to create better tool for the developer, like better abstractions. I mean, like Dedot would also like consider like a like not also like Dedot was like a client, but it was also like a low client for people to work with because it interact directly with the chain, it decode and encode the data. But then uh, when developer want to build the app on Dedot, they would need to like a lot of configurations and then things like that. For example, if they want to work with React or Vue, a lot of different like front end tooling, they would need to like a lot of setup, and we need to have a lot other abstraction on top of Dedot, so that for example they have hooks and setup templates and things like that, so that would make the experience when developing, starting a new project go smoothly. They could just like go into the CLI, hit like enter something like that, and boom, a new project started, and then they could just focus on their own logic for the application. And then on the testing side and the debugging side also, so we also need to like have a better tool for developer to test their like smart contracts and things like that, and integrate news like their logic from like Ethereum or things like that into like Polkadot, and we need to make sure that it works like works smoothly, and it would be it they would have enough tool for the team to test thing out and then integrate it. Yeah, I think that 2 points that we need to focus on in order to looking for the new Polkadot hub going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's see like the same set of problems that you already mentioned in the ecosystem right now. I remember like you created like create typing in our last community call, and we did talk about that with the Ing team. So I'm curious, like right now, are you working on any kind of project to still like tackle the UX experience of like Polkadot right now?
Yeah, most of my time was like focusing on Dedot and another project called Typing, which is another abstraction on top of Dedot, focusing on like building, uh, allowing developers to build like easier on Ing applications. For example, they could build easily start a new project on Ing, and then like easily launch a new projects, use React hooks to interact with like contracts, transactions, and listening and decoding events on smart contract. And most of my work now is focusing on like integrating the new Ink version 6, which is like hosted on Palette Revive and running like RISC-V things, and yeah, that was like typing and Dedot. Yeah.
As you mentioned about palette refine, yeah, I also have questions for it as well. So right now, like the ecosystem, like mainly like shifted the directions to the Polkadot Hub, and there has been like, a lot of things like going on right now. I don't know like if there are anything like related to the staking dashboard or like the Polkadot cloud team at this moment. So I'm so like curious about that, Ross. That like, are you guys like planning to do anything on Polkadot Hub, and also like with like all kind of direction shifting that we're happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think looking objectively, there are unresolved issues on the hub side and the cloud side. I think on the hub side, if you consider OpenGov and governance a hub application, I think there are unresolved issues around reputation, um, around the concentration of power within DAOs, and tooling to discover positive actors. So I think this is a very interesting area, and it doesn't necessarily have to be all on chain, on the application layer. So I personally see like the cloud and the hub on paper look like two separate initiatives, but in reality, there's a lot of overlap. You still need, for example, you still need balances to use the cloud. I imagine there'll be multi-sigs and proxies in the mix as well, which will probably be on the hub, and so on and so on. So I definitely see both areas like intermixing together for future solutions.
Are there any specific plan from the Polkadot Cloud team that related to Polkadot Hub? Maybe like in the next 6 months.
Yeah, we have many strings we would like to pull on, ranging from liquid staking support, more tokens. But you know, it's all in the hands of the community. We're fully OpenGov funded, and we'll be posting a proposal in the near future for Polkadot Cloud. We're coming to the end of our current one, and you know, obviously, we want to make applications better. It's like a never-ending endeavor as a software engineer to keep improving your applications, keeping them relevant. There'll be new hardware support coming up. A really good use case is as the 2-day unbonding for staking is deployed. Hopefully that'll be soon. This will probably allow lots of users to unstake on their old Ledger devices and stake on new devices. So this will hopefully be a catalyst for users to migrate to the latest and greatest hardware. And so we want to think about these scenarios, how we can speed up adoption, and just resolve outstanding issues. And the 28-day unbonding has unfortunately, stifled. For example, a user might be using a Nano S right now. They want to go to a Ledger Flex, but they don't want to unbond for 28 days. So we're thinking about these scenarios and how we can, expedite these transitions.
Funny question, like will those applications also use Dedot in the future?
Say that again, sorry. Without what?
Will like those applications also like build on top of Dedot in the future? Just a funny questions. Oh, you muted.
Is the question, will I use Dedot for future applications?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Polkadot Cloud are fully committed to use Dedot now. We're all in. We think it's the future, the current and the future for JavaScript-based substrate chain interaction. So yeah, we're all in on Dedot.
Also, like I received one I received one comment today when like we announced this community call that like when we talk about like client libraries, we don't mention Polkadot API, and then it's not a good thing. So what you guys like think about that? Think about that because like I think like, a lot of builders in Polkadot system right now they still think that like Polkadot API is a status code, and then it's should be a standard and everyone should using it. And but like from my point of view, I also like don't agree with that. So also would love like to hear you guys' point of view from that thing.
Shall I talk first or Thang would like to?
Yeah, maybe like Thang can go first.
Yeah, I mean, what should I say? Yeah, Polkadot API and Dedot would be considered like competitors, I would say in a sense, and we all like also solving the same issues and problems and like we were having like different direction, different like purposes and architecture design and things like that. So it would create, so having like two or more client would create a diversity in the ecosystem. So people would like would choose which tool that fits their needs and fit their styling application. So for example, one of the goal that was set for Dedot was that it have to make it easy for people to migrate from Polkadot to Dedot. So if you are using Dedot, you might see some familiar in API style and in how we naming things and how we setting up things. It kind of similar to Polkadot. So it would make people to migrate from Polkadot easier. So that is like one goal. And so if we talk about API, it is like a completely different thing. So it would take people like days and weeks in order to migrate from Jest to Polkadot API. So that is like two different things. So another thing is that GDOT also support both type of JSON RPC spec, for the legacy one and the new one. So user would so for example, if a developer connect to an node chain, they could do so without having to having to upgrade the chain itself to the new spec. So that is also another things that is backward compatible point of DDoT. So that is yeah, we have I was mentioning that because we have different goals and different architectures and different decisions to make in libraries and in our tool. So it would help the ecosystem to go diverse and people would I think a healthy ecosystem would have more tool and diversity in that sense.
Mm, okay. Yeah. How about you, Ross? Yeah. What do you think about that thing? About that topic?
I think it's healthy market dynamics to have more than one tool carrying out the same purpose. I think this will encourage competition and also collaboration in solving problems together. It's good to have a choice as well. So for an economist or a OpenGov enthusiast perspective, you might look at the funding mechanisms and you might see Polkadot API requiring over 1,000% more funding than DDoT, and you might make a decision based on that. You might make a decision based on the technical aspect of the type system that DDoT provides and not adding any bundle size and its lightweight nature. And it's very much similar to Polkadot.js. So like Thang said, it's a more natural path to migrating from Polkadot.js. What was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, technical nature, enthusiastic. Yeah, I was going to say something else, but it's lost. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I think as we already come quite close to the community core, I gotta emphasize about the title of today community core again, and maybe you guys can give maybe your opinion or the topic in the future. So the importance of a modern client libraries in building scalable applications. So what's your point of view, Ross?
I think communication's key, and what I've seen over the years is a a repetition of ideas coming through every few months, and we need better communication about what's been tried before and what hasn't worked or is not relevant, and what is actually required, what applications are actually needed for the community versus I have a great idea, but it's been tried and tested a few times and it hasn't worked, you know? So I think this communication's key. Be a bit, not very specific, but I think this theme of tools and the history of what's been done before and what we need to focus on, contemporary problems to be solved would be good content.
How about you, Thang?
Yeah, that's kind of like a broad question and a good question to think about. I think in the future we are having a lot of changes, in the hub or in the the jam things. Whether or not we are going to have a different client, to connect with Jam or things like that. It would be very interesting thing to look forward in terms of how the technology going to evolve. And from my point of view, I think that Polkadot is having one of the I think like obviously one of the best takes in the blockchain technology. So I think so we evolve a lot, changing a lot, and that is like the strong thing about like Polkadot, but also like another like a pain point of Polkadot because we're changing a lot, causing like things to break. For example, if we change an API on the runtime side, and if we don't like communicate clearly, it would break things, and that comes to the point of Rust. We need to have a better and clear communication between teams in order to move forward fast and in sync together. That's like the point of communication is I think really stand out from Rust. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's also like a great wrap up for today's call as well. Like I think that we already received a lot of insight on like what you guys are doing and also like your point of view or like all the changes in the Polkadot right now. So yeah, like if you guys are like have any update that you guys feel would love like to share to the community, feel free just on stage and share it. All right. I think that's also the wrap up of today's community call, and really thank you for like coming to the call. And yeah, it's very insightful, and I hope that like in the future we can have more conversation like this in the future to discuss more about like topic in Polkadot. Yeah, and really again like thank you Ross, thank you Thang for like coming to our community call.
Thanks very much. Great to be here. Thank
Thanks
you.
everyone. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
All right, and yeah, and have a good day and see ya. Thank you.
See you
Yeah.
guys.